This is SWBC Mortgage's Cowboys Crosstalk.
Check this out.
Broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco. Brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by SWBC Mortgage. Customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit SWBC.com. Now, your host, Shannon Gross. Shannon Gross.
Welcome to the beautiful Cowboys Club here adjacent to our lovely offices to my right, which are adjacent to the lovely practice field to my left. And we are here, it's Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Central Time, and that can mean only one thing.
What's that,
Cowboys
Shannon?
Crosstalk
Yes.
is live, and for better or worse, I'm back in the big chair running the show tonight.
Thank you.
And joining me to my right from the flagship station 105.3 The Fan, good to have you back, Will Chambers.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Stepped up the game this week a little bit, huh?
I know where I sit when I come up on this dais, so I was like, I'm not going to be,
All right.
overshadowed again by the lovely jacket that
I like
you're
the
always
outfit.
rocking.
The guy to your right, Nate Newton, didn't get the memo, but he actually wore jeans tonight. He didn't wear shorts or wind pants, so welcome to the show, Nate.
That was sweatpants. Brothers say sweatpants. Come on, dog.
And by the way,
Judging from Twitter, I'm just glad they're pants at all.
well, that's a great point. And, there's some shows that we have in here, and I come in and I'm worried about what are we going to talk about.
Yes.
I don't know if our guest watches a lot of Cowboys football. I don't know what they've been up to. I don't really know a lot about the person. But tonight is not that night, because we might run out of time to talk about all the things that we need to talk about with our guest of honor tonight, because you're a former Cowboy player, which is how you wound up on this show.
Right.
But you have built quite the resume in the last 2 to 3 years. Not only were you a Cowboys football player in a standout LSU alumni.
I love this intro.
Yeah,
right
and
here.
a special
This is-
teams
this is-
ace.
This is good. Okay.
Let's just keep going, all right?
Okay.
The accolades will keep going. But now you are a proud member of the Dallas Cowboys staff on the business side.
Yep. Youth camps. Youth football.
You have also been a reality TV star is probably the latest thing. And you're on a competitive podcast of mine and Nate's called The Players Lounge with Newey Scruggs and Barry Church. Welcome to the show, the greatness of Danny McCray. Welcome,
right.
Danny.
Yes,
How are
sir.
you? Houston native, LSU alum.
You at LSU?
He did.
Did I? Oh, you didn't know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you
It
didn't know?
it took it to my boys last night.
Yeah, I see why Hell was so hyped on him.
You know what?
Yeah, Kentucky.
Danny, this whole
Got him in
They
basketball.
did.
Got him in basketball.
This whole
It was
show
a bad night for football, though.
Yeah.
will be about you. Before we get to you,
Yeah,
I got some congratulations to give.
I do too, man.
Indeed.
Nate
I do
Newton inducted into the Black Football College Hall of Fame. Well deserved and
Yeah.
overdue, Nate.
My man,
Congratulations.
Nate.
Congratulations. And who do you have to congratulate, Nate?
I'm gonna congratulate.
Okay, good talk.
Okay, all
Back
right.
to Danny.
All
All
right,
right.
yeah.
So-
Back to business.
Danny, before we get into Cowboys football and all that good stuff, we know the Survivor thing. What else have you been up to?
I think you listed it all. I mean, I'm being a dad, have a newborn. I think we had our babies around the same time.
Wow,
so I have
that's
like
nice.
a 15-month-old little girl.
17-month-old little boy for me.
Wow.
So figuring that out. My lovely wife is in the stands in the audience over there. So she's holding it down. And we're just selling out football camps. Wouldn't you know it that once people are released from COVID, that all the kids that have been held back from being able to play football in their youth leagues, they showed up to learn a little bit from us and our coaches at the youth football program. So we've been sold out. So my hands have been full with that. I've been super busy trying to make sure that we can get as many kids as we can in these camps. So I'm busy. And my podcast that we have on DallasCowboys.com, the Players Lounge, we're also trying to overtake that number one spot that you guys have. So it never stops.
There you go.
Got your work cut out for
If
you.
you get Nate
he
to
was
show up
a
on time.
successful businessman until that last stage. Wow.
Oh, man. Well, good. And And I don't have to ask if you watch football because that's part of your job now. You watch these current Cowboys. What are you pointing at, Nate?
But Shannon, you done took it. These
got
socks,
his shoes up?
them socks,
Yeah.
you done went to a new level, homie. You got the shirt.
Wait, what you got on your side?
No, you got the shirt.
Oh,
this dude
I
going out.
can't get my leg
The
up that high.
Nikes, too.
Hey, you know he want to match his kids' toddler shoes. So.
They're called Garanimals.
like father, like son.
I still shop in the toddler section, Nate. Just I can't wear a
I like
toddler
that.
hat because my head's so big.
I like that,
So-
Shannon. Thank you.
But we know you watch football.
Sometimes.
The current Cowboys.
Sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes. They upset me sometimes. So
Well, okay, let's just start there because I want to spend a whole segment on Survivor and all that good
Okay.
stuff because we talk a lot of football on this show.
gotcha.
Start with you, Will. What's going on with the football team? Like, they look amazing against, I guess, a COVID-riddled, injury-riddled Washington team, and then they play a really good Arizona team and can't get it together, and then all of a sudden you have flashes of, okay, they're back in the middle of the game, and then it's like, oh, no, the defense is good, the offense can't get it. What is happening? What are you seeing?
I see what you see, what you guys see. You know, I think that the only people that really know what kind of team they are in that locker room, you know, and what kind of team that they'll be. You know, we have a way of almost romanticizing, you know, teams that win championships or make it to a Super Bowl thinking that you have to play a certain way and be this good in order to do that when really the reality is just not that. You know, you're going to go through times when you're not playing so well. You can't have a team that is – stop. You should be used to this by now.
I am.
Where, you know, it doesn't have to be like it was back in the 80s with the 49ers and those teams that just, you know, beat the crap out of everybody, or the Cowboys in the early to mid-90s and all that. It's different now. There's a lot more parity in the league. So does what they did on Sunday give me, you know, confidence that they are that team? No, but look, nobody else in the league really does. You know, I mean, I think that that's what we're seeing from everywhere else, that it is very difficult to win and you don't play perfectly, and sometimes you can go into the playoffs not playing your best football but still come out with the talent level that you have, and that's what they still do have. So it's up to them on what they decide and how they're going to play and if they can make the plays in the big games.
Nate?
And so, do you see what I see? No, go ahead on. Go ahead on.
No,
Cuz.
listen.
I wanna hear what
you want to hear what I got to
yes,
say?
Sir, I do.
Listen, I'll keep repeating the same thing. The thing that worries me about our team is, well, compared to other teams, like you said, nobody's head and heels over the rest of the league, right? But a lot of the good teams, they have more than one way to win a game. We have not shown that we have more than one way to win a game. If our offense is not playing well, the game is ugly. We cannot figure out a way to get it done. Our defense then has to get 4 turnovers. And the 4 turnover games have come against Taysom Hill, 2 against the Washington football team. Once we get into games where we have to kind of be able to accept that we may get 1 turnover and then the offense has to do the rest, that's what worries me. So us not being able to run the ball when we need to is the scariest thing for me. Tampa, they talk about Leonard Fournette. As good as Tom Brady is, that's what they talk about, playoff Lenny. When you talk about Green Bay, you start to hear Aaron Jones and you start to hear A.J. Dillon. And you can go down the list with these teams who are able to run the ball because we know defense travels, run game travels. We have not found a way to run the ball, and that scares me, especially if we have to go on the road for an extended period of time.
The last 5 Super Bowl teams, at least, are teams that averaged or were getting above 100 yards a game rushing in playoff games. You got to have balance.
You have to. And we've seen when we allow other defenses to dictate what we do on offense, it doesn't work out well for us. And hopefully this game we come out and we figure out a way to start running the ball more than 9 times with Zeke and 3 times or 4 times with Tony Pollard, and we make it an emphasis on the game. And I think that will propel us forward. But as of right now, us throwing it 40 and 50 times and going these quick 3 and outs after the defense has been on the field for 8-9 minutes, that's not a recipe for success.
Nate?
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on this football team right now?
You know, I believe this. I see what y'all see. And I said it when we got into a little debate 8-9 weeks ago. This is only a good team. This is not a special team. They have no signature wins, and it's what you're talking about. Tom Brady lose one of his top receivers. Everybody else injured. Tom Brady lose his top receiver and come down at seconds left on the game and win it. When you're dealing with that type of guy, you're dealing with Aaron Rodgers, who ain't had a real star besides Devontae Adams. Jones is just coming. He's made it happen with new coaches and a defense that was starting to gel last year. So when you look at the big boys, do you see the Cowboys as a big boy? They're one-dimensional. That's if no running game, no success. So now, like Mr. McRae said, if we don't have 4 turnovers, we're struggling. We're struggling. And we got to find a way to win more than one way, because when you go into the playoffs, and I go back to my man Tom versus Aaron Rodgers up in Green Bay. They had a chance to win the game, Aaron Rodgers. They defense, Tampa Bay back-to-back stopped them because Tom went out there and threw another interception.
Right.
You got to have more than one way to win. But I'm loving you. I'm going to recruit you for our show. I'm going to recruit him, man. You think him and Jesse may bump heads, though?
No, they special teams guys.
It's too many voices on that show, but
we only have so many mics.
Yeah, that'll be too many people on the show. But I'll say this: from week 1, I've been standing on the table saying, if you let Tampa Bay's defense from last year scare you out of running the ball like we did in week 1, you'll never be able to catch up from that, right? If you don't work on your running game throughout the entire season, it's difficult for you to be able to say, hey, man, in week 17 and 18, this is when we're going to start running the power. This is when we're going to start running leads. This is when we're going to start running traps, because you haven't done that the entire season. So hopefully it's different for this team.
With that being said, there were moments, especially in the first half of the game against Arizona, in which they were running the ball and they were doing it effectively, and they were getting conversions that all of a sudden are taken away by penalties. That's a big part of what has been the issue with this group, are the penalties. Now, we all know it's been well talked about on some of the calls that were made. Going into the playoffs, there is one little bit of optimism that you feel like playoff crews do not call as many penalties. I'm not going to say that they're absolved from they didn't commit all of those, but we watched the game. We see a lot of those. That one on Lyle Collins, that was, I believe, a third down run for a first down. That was not holding.
Right.
It was just not holding. So there are elements of that, and I think at times they have shown the ability to run the ball effectively, but it's been a problem with the penalties.
Yeah, listen. I actually put that to the
crapshoot.
I don't know what you're doing, and I don't want to.
I don't either.
It looked a little.
It was one of two. It was one of two things, and I don't want to know which one it was.
I'm going to move my water over here.
You ever watch the sitcom The Crosbys? With Bill Crosby.
Oh, Bill
Cosby?
The Cosby.
You sounded
The Cosby Show?
like
Did you say the Crosbys?
The Cosbys, whatever, Shannon. I got a point to prove here.
All right.
You sounded like Theo. You sounded so sweet. You sounded so logical.
I didn't think he was the scholar of the family.
But that ain't finna happen, dog.
Yeah.
You are the
Did it happen with the New York Giants?
You are the most penalized team, yardage-wise, in the league. That, yes, you may not get they may let the DBs play a little bit more, but you don't think defensive linemen going to flail a little bit more? You don't think coaches going to be talking to refs, hey, man, I understand this playoff, but look at this
You
dude.
know what? Let's take a break.
Yeah,
When we come back, we talk about
this. Is it the Crosby or the Cosby?
It's the Cosby.
Cosby.
Okay,
No R,
whatever.
no R.
We
no
talk
R.
Whatever. I'm with the fam.
We talk about
from the
this.
South.
Crosby kicks.
Yeah, whatever.
You know what? Nobody on the show is getting paid if y'all don't let me go to a break, because then we got to have
I
sponsors.
already got mine.
Okay?
I already got mine.
We're going to have to talk to somebody about that. You need to get your check after the show. After the show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that when we come back, because we
Okay.
talk about refereeing and scouting refs and what you can do to cut down on the penalties from a player's perspective. I want to know that from you guys. And what's the show that Danny was on, Nate?
Butt naked and afraid.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, too. When we come back, you're listening to Cowboys Crosstalk on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
to SWBC Mortgage's Cowboys Crosstalk.
Check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back. And our guest of honor, Danny McCray. Danny, did you know that our good friends at SWBC Mortgage have customized solutions for individuals and businesses, and they're just a click away?
Absolutely.
Good.
I think I used SWBC.
You do?
As a matter of fact, yeah.
Tell a friend to visit SWBC.com to learn more and start their next adventure. Do it after the show because we got more. We got a lot of important things to talk about.
As soon as I get my phone back from my wife, I'm gonna
All right, let's do that. She does a great job with your social media.
Remember, we got to talk about the Crosbys.
No, it's Cosby.
That's the last.
You mean the Huxtables?
Oh, no, it's the Soul Survivors.
That's you know what the third segment we're going to talk about. What's the show that Danny was on?
I don't know because I can't get Crosby's right.
Okay, all right.
That's how I know you're not getting this right.
We're going to make Danny do the third segment of the show with his shirt off to take him back down
I'm
memory
not
lane.
in shape. I am not in shape.
How you got out of shape in 4 weeks?
What do you mean? I was being starved for an extended period of time. So what do you think I did when I got back? I ate everything I could possibly eat. I drank everything I could possibly drink, and then I'm still, I'm on the Peloton.
Before we get into ref talk, I don't know this story, and I work with you every day. You're about 20 feet from my office. What was it like you coming out of LSU? Were you recruited? Did you go to the combine? Did you have interest from teams? What was it like coming out of college?
No, nobody was looking at me. At LSU, we had won a national championship a few years before, so we had a lot of great players on our squad at that time. So a lot of scouts came to see those guys. I actually worked out at the in our weight room with our strength coach. I did not pay somebody to take me to a facility and do all that. So I worked out there, and when it was my time to run, I ran a 4.44. I lifted good. I did 23 reps on 225 or whatever. Thought I was okay. Watched the draft, the entire thing. Watched all my friends get drafted. For some reason, I thought I was going in the 7th. Will McClay called me, and he's like, "Hey, listen, I don't think we're gonna be able to draft you, but we do want to bring you in as an undrafted free agent. We'll pay you $5,000 to see what you can do or whatever." And I went in there. Joe D told me what I needed. Joe D. Camillus told me what I needed to do to make the team. I did it and turned it into a 6-year career. So no, not recruited, not none of that. Nobody expected me to make the squad, and it just.
That's a long career for you. Played a lot on special teams, right?
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself a special teams player, or are you a safety?
I wish I would have only played special teams.
Really?
I was forced into playing safety because we had so many injuries in 2012 or 2013. It was Rob Ryan's second year when we ended up having to bring in Abe Elam and Frank Walker.
Is that when they were getting guys off the couch?
Yes.
And they had tape on people's nameplates because they were turning them over so fast?
Church ruptured his Achilles. We literally lost 4 safeties. Mana Silva was there. We were all starting in Seattle, so I had to get in and actually play safety. I would have rather just been a Slater from New England, and he's been playing there for 10, 11 years and being the captain, just doing special teams.
Yeah. And you were here. You were with the Cowboys for 4 or 5?
For 5, 1 with the Bears. Jody convinced me to come to Chicago because we actually went up to Chicago and got the doors beat off of us. The coldest game that I ever played in.
Kickoff?
That was 7-degree game.
Woo!
Jody's like, "Hey, come play for a real team." I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'm on my way." And of course, we go there and we win 5 games, and Cowboys go to the playoffs. I think they went to 12-4. Yeah, Dez caught it. So it didn't work out for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about ref talk.
The whole segment on referees.
Not the whole segment, but from 2 former players, and I didn't know this, and we talked about this on our show. Just like you have tape on players on the other team, refs have tape on players when it comes to penalties and stuff, right? And we talked about Connor Williams and how they had to get him off the field for a few games for his own protection. Talk about things you can do to either have more penalties called on you as a team or less penalties called on you as a team.
Practice and always be conscious of what you're doing as a player. That started after I got out, where they started doing analysis on the refs.
The crews?
The crews. So that started after I got out. But Jimmy had, Jimmy would, hey, what do you think about the refs, Jimmy? What are you going to do about the holding if we had a game like that? And Jimmy said, well, they're going to have to stop, holding.
Yeah.
He would cuss, they have to stop holding. And we have to be, but he always, during training camp, we had refs, and they wasn't just standing there. They would throw that flag at Jimmy like, hey, man, That's 2 in a row now.
Right.
You know, work on your technique. That's what we're here for. You know, and Connor should know by now. And I'm going to give you a simple deal. You got a stretch play to the right, 3-4 steps. Okay, the guy going with you, and then all of a sudden he jerked back. You got to let him go. That means the front side is closed. That running back had to make a major decision real quick to get back door. If it's 1 or 2 steps, okay, boom. Okay, everybody's going jerking back real quick. But if you 3-4 steps into that, let him go. That's common sense.
Yeah, I mean, same thing Nate said. So if you watch a NFL practice, specifically a Dallas Cowboys practice, because that's what I'm familiar with, and you see those referees out there during one-on-ones, they're out there for a reason to let you know that you're holding.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So
don't ignore
so what happens is if you go in and say, "Oh, ref, you BSing," right? And then the same thing happens in the game, I can go back to that practice tape and say, "Bro, you did the same thing. You did the same thing there." And I can guarantee you it's the same with the O-line, same with the D-line. If you go back and watch that film, or the coaches can tell you, yeah, that guy was doing the same thing, and we told him to get it cleaned up, but it's something in your technique at that point that you just have not been able to fix. So having those refs there does help, but most of the time you see guys getting penalties out there in the game, they doing the same thing at practice.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it flips sometimes where you're out there with officials practicing, and then all of a sudden you come out to a game and the same things that you were doing that were not getting called in practice are getting called in games.
I've never seen it.
Okay,
I'll tell you that.
yeah.
I
don't know. I mean, because it's been a big point of contention in talking about officials and having them being full time and all that. And I'm not here to tell you that they've been terribly officiated, because that's not it. There are certain calls that that were made that were not right. I didn't think the Cowboys played that poorly offensively in the first half. They had some drives going, and then you did have the penalties just really kill those drives. And some of them were right.
Right.
And it just ended like a 70-yard drive, I want to say, the first or second. It is part of it, and Nate's right. The most penalized yards team, it's not good. It has to be cleaned up. But I do think it does also take away from us looking at them like it didn't play as bad as I think that we all look at it, because they couldn't, get points and get in the end zone.
I got to be honest. here, okay?
Be honest, because that's what we do on this show. I don't
let me
know what
tell
y'all
you
do on your show, but on this
No,
we're honest.
Let me tell you something. Because
To a fault.
these are things that stick out to me during the game, right? You have Chandler Jones out there, right? When you see a play get wrecked 2 yards in the backfield, and you see that Dalton Schultz is blocking Chandler Jones, you know that this is not the correct way to run it, right? And then, but that makes you say, "Oh, we're not going to run it because we can't run it. We can't get it done." No, that's not true.
I've never seen Nate hold hands with a guest before, but he just did it.
True.
What did I tell you on the show today?
I know what you say.
Not once did we put this kid at a disadvantage as a coach. Twice we put this kid. That is a mismatch that came from hell, and that was not right. I don't like that, bro.
But when you see it as a viewer, you say, "Oh man, the running game is just not there."
That's
not true. It's not true.
He
Put a tackle out there.
He had just beat Tyron a series before.
Yeah.
He had just beat all.
So if he's beating Tyron,
yes,
it's not really fair to ask Dalton.
Okay,
Schultz
let me ask you guys this then. So are we talking about something that Dak should be able to see at the line of
no,
scrimmage?
he can't see that. He can't see
Well,
that.
if you check and run,
What's the
because
blocking
scheme? If you're checking and run because the box is light, then you can't say, "All right, well, Dalton Schultz is like he already got to do so much communication." You're like, "Okay,
Right.
86 on 95. Let me throw it somewhere else because it's showing you a favorable run play, and you don't have like 5 or 6 in the huddle. You literally got run left or run right." And at that point, it's like, all right, this is what we should do. This is what the X's and O's tell us that we should do.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of changes that are being made at the line of scrimmage. Lots of kill, and going to different things. And so if you see a mismatch,
Dak killed so many people during this game. He killed so many folks
at the line of scrimmage.
They should have a search warrant out for him. The first 10 passing plays. I saw him one time. Mike number, then he stopped and went over to the other side. I was like, wow, they got Dak confused.
Do you think we're going to run that play again? That Buda Baker almost picked off a pick 6? Where you put the lineman outside and it's going to be a bubble screen. I'm like, bro, this dude saw this on film too many times.
Yeah.
Like, he knew exactly what was coming.
how many plays do you run out of that formation? And if it's only one, guess what? They're going to see that and know what's coming.
And I'm not saying – I'm not one of those guys that believe that our offense is so good, like Kansas City offense is, till they can play basic ball. We're not that good. So we got to come up with a better game plan.
The thing is, I think we are. I think sometimes we try to get too creative. I think lining up Zeke at fullback on 3rd and 1 is something that we think is creative, but it's really not to the defense. You know, you're going to hand it to this dude playing fullback.
Right.
Being simple like an Aaron Rodgers, hey, man, I'm going to figure out a way to get Devontae Adams in one-on-one. Simple. 3-by-1, back strong. It's going to be whoever is – the X is going to be in 1-by-1. Throw the slant, throw the comeback, whatever, and that's Amari Cooper. I think those are simple ways to get it. If we're going to run the ball, we're going to pull 71, we're going to pull 70, and we're going to run behind those guys. These are simple ways. Like, it seems like a simple offense, but ours are better than theirs at that point.
You know, I said at the very beginning about how, like, I see what you see.
And all I can see, and I promise you, all I can see is number 20 catching and I've been saying it for 3 weeks. I need to see number 20 catch 15 swing passes out of the backfield because I just don't believe that a linebacker or a safety can deal with him that many plays. And I just don't believe it.
Well, I think that Dak, what he was seeing in the first half of the year, is very different from what he's seeing now. I think the defenses know, the defensive coordinators are planning to be like, show him this, and then he'll do this.
I didn't want to say it.
There was a lot of that.
We got that from the first game.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm out of the Huxtable family.
Yes, you are.
Tampa did that to us the first game. And we've been doing that for the entire season. Tampa said, we are not going to let these people run. We're going to make them get into a passing situation. And this is how we're going to line up, and they're going to check to this. And we showed all of that in the first game, and we've been continuing to do that throughout the season, which is why you see a 9-rushing thing, right? Because they're like, all right, they're not going to run it if we show them this look. We're going to get them to be able to check to what, a grab route or a go route or this route, and we're going to be able to dictate what they're calling.
All right, fellas, we got to take another break.
You can tell he watch our show, Shannon.
I don't watch those. Shannon knows. Shannon knows I'm at work at that time.
You know what show we
Your
are?
boy watching.
Show we are going to talk about watching. Butt Naked and Afraid, and Danny's going to take his shirt off for this third segment when we have Survivor Talk with our guest, Danny McCray. When we come back, you're listening to Cowboys Crosstalk on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
to SWBC Mortgage's Cowboys Crosstalk.
Check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
Welcome back with our guest of honor, Danny McCray, and SWBC Mortgage. Join the more than 120,000 customers that we've helped to find their happier way home. Visit SWBCmortgage.com to find a pro today. Shannon Gross, Will Chambers, Nate Newton, and Danny McCray. So, Danny, you were on a little reality TV show this year.
Yes, Survivor.
Survivor, not the other one, Nate. Not the other one.
They wear a little bit of clothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have full outfits, 3 of them. Yeah, three full outfits.
3 full outfits?
Yes.
Tell us, you were a fan of Survivor, right?
I was.
You had watched Survivor for years.
I watched. So when I retired in 2015, when the team didn't call me back.
How old were you when you retired?
28.
The ripe old age of 28.
No,
you
actually,
were
I'm
retired.
lying. 6 years. I was like 27. 6 years. 27.
Old man.
Old man.
Retired, just living the life.
Just watching Survivor. trying to figure out what to do.
What the next move was.
Everybody has a 9 to 5, and then you find out that your friends that do not play football, they're working all day, and you got to find something to fill that time void while they're doing something. The Survivor was that for me.
Watching, or what made you say, I think I'm going to apply for the show?
Well, me and the wife would like sit down and watch it, like binge watch it, 8, 9 episodes back to back. And I'm sitting there and I would say, I could do that. Or why is this person doing that? Or why are you telling this person this or whatever? I'm like, I think I could do better than them. All right, I got free time. I'm not working. I'm not doing anything. You think I should apply? She's like, nah, no, not yet. Nah, don't do it. As soon as we get married, which is about 4 or 5 years later, she was like, oh, yeah, you can go. I was like, all right, well, cool. So she made the video for me, and then they called me, and that was that.
And that was that. So tell us a little bit about the experience. Like, what was it like? What was
it a lot harder
than I expected?
Then like when you're sitting there like, hey,
I can do that.
No, listen, to be honest with you, the hardest thing about the show is like how it's produced, right? You don't know what you're getting when you go into it. And the show, to me, up until a certain point when they were able to smash Hourglass and go back in time, which kind of threw me for a loop, it was pretty simple. It was, everybody's starving, everybody's dirty, everybody's hungry. So as long as you know that everybody is going through the same thing you are, you're absolutely fine. And then when they start throwing stuff like that in there, that's when it gets you, because what you don't realize until that point is your emotions are on 1,000. Like every reaction that you would have when you're at home and you're clean and you've eaten and you've been able to socialize with your friends and family, imagine you being hangry, right? And how mad you get now in the comfort of your home, right?
Smelly.
And then imagine how your hangry would be 1,000 times that, right? So everything, right? When somebody's messing with you, or somebody's in your personal space, or you figure out they lying to you, or they just doing something that annoys you, right? It's 1,000 times exponentially worse. So I'm just sitting there and I'm like, this like people suck sometimes. People sucks, and I got to go through this, and they, production's gonna do what they want to do with their own TV show. So that was the only sucky part about it. But it wasn't that bad. Hunger leaves you in like 2 or 3 days. You don't even realize it anymore, because I guess your stomach shrinks. Worst part was using the bathroom out there in the ocean. It is.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
That sounds comfortable.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Those elements, like the animals.
Yeah. So
you come into contact with anything?
Nah. So I would say this: they put a lot of money into the contestants, right? And if they do have a contestant that has to be evacuated, they lose a lot of money. So they make sure that they don't put you in that type of danger, right? So you won't see anything that'll like wild boars. You won't see like a poisonous snake, wild boars. You won't see any of that type of stuff. The most we saw some weird looking birds. Of course, they have like poisonous like plants or something that they give you a book and they're like, don't touch these. Right? So check it out before you do eat it. But crabs, fish, spiders, hella spiders.
Whatever challenge would be going on, and then like some snake appeared, I would win that challenge, and then I would keep running on top of water towards whatever vessel may be out there.
That's the thing, though. Like, you go out there and you think, as I'm watching it, hey, man, I could do this better than the other person. It takes no athletic ability to finish some of those challenges or to be good at those challenges, right? Like, the first one I lost that was individual was picking these blocks up with your feet and stacking them up 3 rows high and then grabbing a flag and putting it in the hole. And I'm like, I don't work out for this. Like I've been doing push-ups and running miles. Like this is not catered.
Well,
to
they are
to that.
starving you there, so I guess maybe that comes into play.
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't bad. It was fun, but
That's cool.
The production part sucked.
Was there anything that didn't make it on the show that you wish would have?
Yeah. So when we went on, so this was the first year that it was mandated that 50% of the cast had to be people of color. Right, so this is the most diverse cast they've had. So you had more black people on the show, you had more Hispanic people, more Canadians, more Asian. You had more of that on the show, right? So we're going through the show, whatever, and then we come together and we're like, oh man, it's like 4 black people left. We should work together, right? We should work together. We should figure out, because you got to remember at this time the George Floyd trial is going on,
right.
Ahmaud Arbery, all that stuff is going on. So we've been watching this for the whole year. So we're like, man, let's figure out a way to get one of us to be the winner, and it falls apart. And on TV, it looks like it falls apart for one reason. Right. But if you show it in its entirety, it was way more than what they showed on TV, right? So you would believe that it was one person's fault if you just watched it on TV. But if you know the full story, then you know that that's totally wrong.
Can you tell us? Can you tell us the story? Can you break the news here on Cowboys Crosstalk?
I told the story. I mean, I told it before. It was so for the people that watched, Shan ended up getting voted out, and me and Deshaun ended up. It seemed like we stabbed her in the back. But I told Shan we needed to vote out her number one ally, which was Ricard. She said, okay. Then she goes and tells Ricard that I told her that, right? But she told him because she had gotten word that my other closest guy, Deshaun, and her friend Liana had said they were going to vote her out down the road. Liana felt guilty about it. She tells Shan. And then Shan's like, well, I can't trust them, so I'm now going to tell Ricard whatever y'all told me. They left out the whole Liana and Deshaun conversation. So it seems like out of nowhere, me and Deshaun, we couldn't stand a woman being in power and all sort of stuff, so we just had to go knock her out of the game.
So they created a plot line.
Oh, they created it.
That's what good producers do.
Yeah, but it sucks for the people who are at home who have to deal with that on social media, right? Because you have to be like, "That's not what happened. No, that's not why we did that."
Can't say
you can't, right? so you watching it, right? You can't say anything because we can't tweet or talk about the show until the end of the season. So I'm just like getting drilled on Twitter and on Instagram. You guys suck. You should have done that. You stabbed in the back. That's why y'all went home. I'm like, you have no idea.
Was there anything that you weren't expecting, or did everything that happened you were kind of like, yeah, this is kind of was it anything different than what you had imagined it watching it all those years?
I will say this. So the amount of time that it takes to get from point A to point B on that show is crazy because we're all on 3 different islands. And then we all have to get transported from whatever island we're on to whatever island we're going to do the challenge on or to whatever island we're going to do tribal council on, right? So now you have to time that up. So the boat ride might be 45 minutes. Then when you get there, you got to get mic'd up. But as you're getting mic'd up, you can't see the other tribe. So we have to do it one by one. So they'll come mic us up. Then we'll sit there for another 30 minutes while they mic up the second tribe. And then they'll sit there another 30 minutes while they mic up the third one. It takes us like 3 or 4 hours to get to what you see on TV in 45 minutes. So that was something I didn't expect because it seems like, oh, yeah, okay, they walk out, you do the challenge, you go home. Nah, it's like 4 or 5 hours.
All right, last question, and then we'll move on.
You
to
asked
something
them all.
else.
You should know.
I got one more. I just want to spend the whole segment on this because I'm interested.
Shannon watched it.
Yeah, so you
I
guys,
watched it too.
You guys had a watch party at the end, right? To watch the.
We did have a watch party.
The finale. Is
we
that
did?
we
yes,
all
we
met?
had it in Chicago.
Did everyone get along, or was there any animosity from people that got voted off, or because you didn't know what was going on until you got voted off, right? And then you got to watch everything going on. Sure, there were some conversations that were had. We're like, you dirty dog.
It was more of lack of conversations. so Xander's mad at me because I said he didn't play a good game. That's why he didn't get any votes, and nobody voted for him, and I voted for Deshaun. Everybody's still mad about how the story I just told, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's mad at Deshaun because they think Deshaun stabbed him in the back and all sort of stuff. So it's still a lot of people who have not let things go.
So a little drama still.
It's a little drama still.
But who all get paid? I mean, do all of y'all get paid, or this is?
It always goes back to money with Nate. Always.
Y'all try to get my money taken. So I don't know. It's possible.
Okay, it's possible that everybody can get paid.
It's possible.
All right, we don't want to get Danny in trouble.
Okay,
so
well, I didn't know that. See,
let's take our last break.
I was on the wrong show anyway. I watched the whole series of another show.
She was butt naked and afraid. Like, man, I don't say
it for Danny to show up.
Let's take our last break.
I like Danny got voted off early.
When we come back,
There's two people on that show.
let's talk about what are our expectations for this Cowboys team in the playoffs. We have to wait a week for it, but since we got such a good crew here tonight, let's talk about it. Cowboys.
We don't need no theologic.
We don't. You know what? We're going to start with Theo. Will's going to be first up. When we
I got a
come back,
low bar to get over anyway.
You're listening to Cowboys Crosstalk on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
SWBC Mortgage's Cowboys Crosstalk. Check this out. Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
SWB. Nate, we're on the air. Please stop. SWBC PEO, helping to alleviate the HR administrative burden that comes with running a business. Leave the worrying to us. Visit SWBCPEO.com to find out more. Sorry to interrupt you, Nate. What were you saying? Go ahead.
If you want to deal with HR problems, go to SWB. You know, and
SWBC.
They will see you out the door with the HR problem.
Is that what you were talking about in the break?
No. What we was talking about is that I'm a Southern guy. I should be able to pronounce COSY.
COSBY.
BY. Better than the R being put in there.
Yeah.
Because Southern boys always mess up words. Because I ain't never got his name right until he went on that thing.
You forgot his first name tonight before he got on the show.
What's McRae?
The McRae. No hard feelings.
And then I had to look at Will like 8 times. Chambers. Okay, Will. Okay.
You know what? We've been doing
It's
a
only
show.
been like 6 years.
We've been doing a show together every weekday for probably 4 years.
Yes, we have.
And he sits right across from me on our podcast. He's here every Wednesday night. We
Right.
do various other things throughout the season. And he'll look at me sometimes and zone out. He'll be, the beard, or he'll be like, little man with the big head, or like he just completely zones out. So it's not personal.
What's Church's first name?
Barry, man.
Oh, I know.
That's my boy. He's a homer. He's a homer. When
I
you're a
got
Cowboy
Barry.
homer, he's a Cowboy homer.
Oh, man.
Barry ain't never got us to lose, do it. He ain't never got us to lose and do it. The Cowboys.
Picked us to lose against Arizona.
Yeah.
He did.
And he picked us to lose
tough.
against. He picked us to lose against Kansas City too.
But
Yeah.
he got
And he was
around
right.
me.
He was right both
Yeah, he
times.
was right on both of them.
But he get around me and go the other way.
Yeah.
Wow.
He picked us to
All
lose
right.
both times.
So because I said we'd start with you this segment, Will,
Okay.
what are your expectations of this Cowboys team through the playoffs? Are they winning 1 game, 2 games, 3 games? They going all the way? What would you be happy with?
Well, I mean, I would be happy with them going to the, get into the Super Bowl. I think that they've got enough talent in order to do that. I can't predict anything now from what we see. You can't.
Too inconsistent.
They're way too inconsistent. There's times when we have seen them play against some good teams and play pretty well. New England has turned out to be, you could say, they got a rookie quarterback, this and that. That defense has been around all year, and that's got a lot of veterans that came into play this year for Bill Belichick. And they played pretty well. I think that we are sitting here talking about the Cowboys, and if they were having a show like this in Green Bay talking about the Packers, they'd feel pretty good about their quarterback, but they'd be talking about their warts. And they'd be saying on how Baker Mayfield threw 4 interceptions on them, but they gave up over 230 yards rushing, against the Cleveland Browns. And it took those 4 interceptions. Tampa Bay is going to be talking about how they're not a very good defense on the back end. They're just not. They're average. They are susceptible to being thrown on. Now, the Cowboys have been more inconsistent than those teams, but it just goes to show you that not every team is going into the playoffs perfect.
I love you, Will. Go ahead on, Dan.
Oh, okay.
I love you, Will.
Well,
I really
listen,
do.
my expectation for this team going into the playoffs, because I do have the utmost respect for how the defense has been playing, and I think the potential for them is through the roof. And I actually do think that they can carry us as long as we're able to score 25, 26 points. We don't have to score plus 30 every night. But if we're able to put together some drives and score 24, 25 points, I think that we can rack together some wins. All right? So if our offense is able to get it together, depending on who we're playing, where we're playing them at, I think that we have the possibility, like you said, to make a deep run.
Yeah, look, I mean, the NFC Championship game last year, Nate, you were talking about it. Tom Brady, how many interceptions did he throw? Jimmy Garoppolo throws 1 completion in the, fourth quarter of that game of the Super Bowl? San Francisco wins that Super Bowl.
But that's what we talked about earlier. Those teams they have more than one way to win.
Yeah, they were running the ball well.
And we haven't been able to find a way to do that. Like I said, last year it was playoff Lenny. Nobody expected it, right?
Yeah.
Running it, catching it. When you talk about
Ronald Jones too.
Yeah, Ronald Jones. When you talk about the San Francisco team, they were in the game because they were able to run the ball.
Sure.
Us, we have
And
not
good
been able
defense.
to find a way to do that, right? When the things are going south for us, we should be able to lean on our $90 million running back, or Tony Pollard. We got thunder and lightning. Figure out a way to get those guys in the game. If we are able to do that, I think we can make a deep run.
Expectations, though. You just have to be like,
Yeah.
they could win, they could lose badly.
Yeah.
It's a toss-up to me.
Nate?
I think our defense saves us for losing badly.
I
I'm
would
really high on the defense.
If they allow them to rush the passer.
As you should be,
Really high on the defense.
as we would expect. And you're probably pretty high on the special teams right now, too, huh?
For the most part, I mean,
All except the kicker?
The kicker is, if you add up the points for the games that we've lost, I mean, I know you still have more to play, but it adds up. We lose by 3, we miss 3, we lose by 3, miss extra point in the field goal,
It changes. You know how it is. It changes the way the game's played.
Right. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you miss one early, and all of a sudden it's like
Chasing points.
Yep, chasing points.
So
Nate, you've been looking at everybody crazy. You've been hugging Will during this segment. You've been high-fiving Danny. You've been doing all this crazy stuff. What is your – and don't give me the homer opinion that the Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl.
you just said you're a homer.
What is your assessment of this team, and what would you be happy with? What would your expectations say? If they do this in the playoffs, I'm good.
Oh, I'm only happy with a Super Bowl, too, by the way. I didn't get that one.
Okay.
But, like,
right.
we have to at least get there.
What are you happy with, sir?
This is the most talented team that I think that we have seen since
Not the question,
the
Will.
mid-90s, so
the question
it's
is-
a Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Oh, that was
Make it to it or win it? Make it to it?
Make it to it.
Okay. Where are you at, Nate, on this?
if the Cowboys get into the playoffs and play real well the first game and lose, it would not hurt my feelings. And I'm being honest because
You just want them to play well when they get there.
you have done nothing but beat teams. You do not have a signature win. You said it 3 times, Will. They played these teams well, and they fell short. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3 points here, kicker. You got to have a kicker. We don't have a kicker. You got to have a run game. We don't know where that's went. So if they can get into the playoffs, and if they run the ball, I believe they can win. I believe they can get to the second round. Now you're playing guys on your equal talent level. Now it's going to come down to, can that coach call the right play, and can those players execute it? Because there's always going to be 6 or 7 plays. We haven't seen those 6 or 7 plays against quality teams yet. So if they go into the first round and lose, I'm not going to be, oh, man, wow, man. Well, nah. You've done what you've done all year. Now, if you want to shock me, win that first playoff game, and you talking about Homer Nate all over the place, yeah, I'll be running butt.
Listen,
and unafraid.
I have to ask Nate. All right, so think of it this way, okay?
Yeah.
No signature wins. I got
Right.
you. Okay, no signature wins. But if you go out there and you play, and back on the defense, defensively, how you played against Minnesota, when you know what Minnesota has
That's right.
on offense, right?
Right.
Or you go out there and you play defensively, how you played against Kansas City.
Right.
When you know what Kansas City has on offense, or even how you played against Arizona when you forced them to kick 4 field goals.
Yeah.
Even when we turn the ball over in our own territory, and when you play like that defensively, and you can get something out of our offense, I'm confident that we can win against anyone.
That's what I told him on the show today. That's what I told him. But
But you got to score.
you got to score
25
27 points.
to 27.
You
right?
got to with me. You got to score 27 or more points. You got to score 27 or more points because if you go back and check all of the playoff games, it's rare that the winner don't have close to 27 or more points. You have to do that. In our case, you have to control time of possession, or at least be 30 minutes. You have to be.
Well, we not getting time of possession if we don't run the ball.
Yeah, I think the defensive line, the front, the pass rush is good enough to keep you in any game. You know, it really is because their ability to get after the quarterback. And I know that they are susceptible to some big plays because of how Trayvon Diggs does on the back end. But you've had guys, step up. Yeah, that's right. And I wonder, actually, with that, if we might start seeing more Kelvin Joseph, to be honest. His size and ability, if he gets.
Wouldn't be mad about that. I think he's played really well.
I'm not giving up on AB yet
Me either.
because I've seen more good than bad from AB.
I will tell you
I've
this.
seen more good
That's
than bad.
true.
AB
but athleticism, KJ is.
AB needs to get with those defensive linemen and get on the jugs machine.
Him and Curse, because we should have 2 turnovers that game. We got Curse dropping an interception, and then we don't have the timeout to get the last one. But this defense is consistently forcing turnovers, which is always a bright spot.
You know what that was? What we just did? That was our brass tacks moment presented by Liberty Tax. Liberty Tax is a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Join the team today at libertytax.com/hiring. We got 1 minute left, fellas. Will Chambers, parting words, sir.
Look, this is a football team that has the talent to win. They have not shown the consistency, but I go back to 2 New York Giants teams that won Super Bowls that went 9-7. You got to get to the tournament and then make plays.
Yeah, listen. Hopefully, I think the only shot that we have in making a deep run is if we find our running game, or even if we don't rush 100 yards, that we stick to it in the game plan and open up other things for Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb.
Well said. Butt naked and afraid.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Will, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming out.
Good to see you
Nate,
again, my friend.
good seeing you, brother. Danny, I guess I'll see you tomorrow in the office, huh?
See you there.
This was a lot of fun, man. This is one of those shows where this just went out the window at the beginning, and we just went all over the place.
Yeah, and I'm going to watch the series, the Crosby's. I'm going to pull it up.
This has been Cowboys Crosstalk on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!